Welcome to Monarchist Minute. I'm your host, William Stout, here with Vice Chancellor Clements Magnolia. How are you doing tonight, Clements?
Oh, I'm doing all right.
Good, good. I'm doing fine myself. What have you been up to as of late? It's been a moment since we've had you on the
Uh,
podcast.
Mostly just school. Hey, I was on not too long ago. It was the week you weren't here.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah.
I gotta sit down and actually listen to that episode again. I have a really bad habit of not listening to the episodes when I'm here just because I'm so used to being on, it's like I don't get into the habit of
Yeah.
actually listening to it myself.
Yeah.
School been treating you alright, or?
It's fine. Almost finished, but that means also it's a bit of the crunch time to get everything else done.
You are the only person in our leadership that actually is a poli-sci major, so
I hate poli-sci. So, ugh.
thinking about changing
Like,
that
let's
major.
let's let's move on. Let's move on. I don't want to talk about this.
Alright, fair enough, fair enough. Got anything you do want to talk about, or?
Me personally, no. We already had a topic set up, anyways.
Yeah, we were gonna talk about, the new right and their discarding of Trump as a false messiah, or la 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 la.
Oh yeah, sure. The chronically online who their glorious leader flat out said, "I'm not voting for Trump." Yeah, he's totally, yeah, certainly, guys.
Skeptic, are you?
Dick, I'm just facing reality. The dude literally said before the election, yeah, I'm not gonna vote for Trump. And earlier, of course, and to anyone who's wondering, we're referring to Nick Fuentes, of course. Before that, he had literally stated that, "Oh, I'm gonna take my gripers and we're gonna prevent Trump from winning." And of course, he did nothing because it's a chronically online movement. It doesn't manifest in any actual ways. The only way in which it manifests, quote unquote, is that there was some report that said like 33-ish% or something. I don't know, maybe a third of all like the Gen Z. Trying to remember it now. Third of the Gen
Gen
Z
Z.
staffers for Republicans are like apparently groypers or whatnot, which I don't know for certain, but if that's true, it's a chronically online movement though.
I don't believe it, honestly. I really don't believe it. I think the New York Times pulled that out of their ass because they're looking for a new boogeyman to make Republicans look bad.
Yeah.
The Gripers are their new.
I mean, listen. If you actually want to talk about stuff, yes, I do. Personally, I think Republicans should tack to the center more because I think the problem right now is the fact that Republicans are in a position where, following the disaster that was the government shutdown, it's over now, thank God. But the fact of the matter is that it really did tarnish a lot of people, and we saw in New Jersey and Virginia, and even down here where I'm living in North Carolina, we saw Republicans do absolutely terrible. They did terrible. What is that? Democrat supermajority in the House of Delegates. Citarelli getting his ass handed to him. Forgive my language, but it's just, yeah. Republicans need to switch gears right now. Mainly, I would say, to quote the musical Hamilton, talk less, smile more. And it's the economy, you fools!
Yeah, and I feel like that's why we've seen a pretty big wins of some Democratic populists, like especially in New York City with the mayoral run. Like, do I think Mamdani is a what's the word I'm looking for? A not a hack, but a God, I forget the term. Not heckler.
I don't know what word you're looking for, so I can't help you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. God, it's usually a term used to describe someone who's disingenuous.
Oh, a charlatan? Well,
Charlatan works.
charlatan's someone who says they know how to do something, but in reality they don't. Which, I mean, that does kind of suit him, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, we all know he's fake. We all know he put on a show. But the point is that, and the reason that he won is he fundamentally is talking about addressing the economic issues, especially
Yes,
of living in New York.
Yes, I would completely agree with that. I went to my to my county's young Republican meeting. We literally talked about the fact that Mamdani won because of the fact that he was able to appeal to people. Now his policies are absolutely disastrous and they'll destroy the city, but he
He's
actually appealed to people, whereas Cuomo was, well, Cuomo of course is a is basically is a basically a rapist. Terrible, did a terrible job as governor. Literally shoved COVID patients into nursing homes.
remember about
Yeah.
Cuomo,
No wonder
Fumio,
this guy
however you
lost.
pronounce his name, is
Who?
that a while afterwards, there was an ex-mob enforcer that came on and basically said that the mafia would never vote for Mamdani. And I'm saying, I think to myself, I was like, that is more a condemnation of Cuomo, whatever, however you pronounce his name,
Yeah.
than it is an endorsement.
Yeah.
It's like, were they thinking saying that?
Yeah. Oh, who knows? Maybe they just want to. Who knows? I don't know. But I mean, yeah. He's he'll be terrible for the city, but hopefully he'll be great for Republicans.
Honestly, I
Of
hope
course, of
he
course,
doesn't.
I'm just worried about all the fact that there's so many Yankees moving down to North Carolina right now, and that's a problem for us. I mean, we have so many Midwestern transplants down here now, and a lot of them don't really know any of the political history here, so they're just like, oh, I'll just vote for the Democrats because it's the same Democrats down here as back home, right? It's like, no, it's not. This is different Democrats. This is not your economically left center left Democrat. This is your just liberal in the sense of liberal Democrat. Maybe.
The funny part is I know a lot about some of these Midwestern transplants. Basically, the same companies that like own all the auto manufacturers and such like to base themselves down in like the Carolinas and such.
Yeah, because we got good tax policy.
Mm-hmm. That's why we
Despite
also
despite Governor Cooper, because like I for my job I go door knocking, and right now
right.
we're trying to convince people not to vote for not to support Cooper in the upcoming Senate race, and very often people are like, oh well, he was a good governor, and it's like, no, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
Yeah,
Because he really wasn't a governor to begin with, because the legislature did everything. He vetoed basically anything and everything he could. He vetoed it.
yeah, and you're right about North Carolina having very good tax policies. After all, we incorporated there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's good talk. I mean, we don't have to pay um in tax season too. So that's another reason why we did it.
Yeah,
But
now
yeah, it's
if
like,
only
yeah,
the IRS would get back to us about our non-for-profit.
fuck the IRS.
Of course, they're probably on back order because of the shutdown, so who knows
Yeah,
how swamped they are. A moment of
yeah.
silence for the IRS.
No, no, I don't think I will.
Ugh.
Come on.
Honestly, I was betting on the shutdown to last till the first of the year at the least.
No, 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 no. It wouldn't have lasted that long. I mean, the problem was that eventually Democrats were going to realize that Trump just genuinely does not care about what they were saying. I mean, he really didn't. He was getting away with a lot more with the shutdown because the shutdown basically shoved a lot of the even more legislative ability into the executive, because now because if the legislative is not putting down who gets the money, well, what remains of the money has already been allotted to the president to deal with.
Really?
So, well, not for him to deal with in that sense, but more of it's it's really hard to exactly put it down, but it basically just gives the president more of an ability to do whatever he wants with what money remains, because what money thus remains is then that which is either always appropriated or something else that I can't remember exactly, which basically just gives the president even more power.
Hmm. Interesting.
Then again, a lot of this just comes down to the fact of the legislature just doesn't want to do their job.
which has been a problem with Congress for
For
a
years.
very,
Yeah.
very long while now.
Yeah.
When do you think this problem started?
I mean, actually, I have a paper that's due on Monday, and one of the topics is we talked about the imperial presidency, which began in the 70s. Basically, it started probably, uh, I would say, with the end of the Nixon administration. Not really with Ford though. Maybe with Ford. I don't know. It's hard to say. But sorry, indigestion. But where the president was kind of given more power, I would say it probably did begin with Carter then, because people. It's hard to say. But basically, what happened is Congress began slowly giving more and more of their power to the presidency, so that they would have to do less.
I really think we saw this epitomized in the Bush administration with the wars in the Middle East.
I
Yeah.
mean, okay, well, I think that's a little bit different because the fact that the legislature did give basically support to Bush to go in, like that was, I mean, the Congress did technically declare war on terror, whatever that means, and so they did technically allow for what happens to happen. They were, of course, junior partners in everything, but it was also the public were also very much up in arms after 9/11. Again, I mean, actually, you do have a good point though. It's like every time after a tragedy, inevitably what happens is people say, "Oh, well, we need something to happen," so they'll shove it into the government and say, "Oh, well, you need to do something then because we can't do it. Apparently, we're not capable of doing it."
I would also argue that FDR would count as sort of an imperial executive too.
Oh, 100%. This is where it all starts with FDR.
Which I'll even say that as kind of an FDR fanboy, but yeah.
You're just economically center left. You're not even an FDR fanboy. You're just economically center left. Like
The
whatever.
one,
I don't really want to get into FDR.
yeah, but let's avoid the economic, because if we go down the economic, we spend too much time getting into economics on this podcast.
Yeah.
So, how is the door knocking going?
Fine. I mean, most of the time, a lot of people really don't care, and I've had so many people who just said, "Yeah, I'm just gonna vote Cooper." I don't literally. A lot of people don't care what I could tell them. I could tell them Cooper raped a kid, and they would still vote for him
Why?
because he was a quote unquote good governor. Roy Cooper will win the North Carolina Senate race for one reason and for one reason only: apathy. And I'm not saying that people aren't going to vote. I mean, they're so apathetic to actually looking in and understanding Cooper, they'll just vote for him anyways because he was a quote unquote good governor when he wasn't. He was mediocre at best.
Yeah, that's a lot of a problem in American politics. We have a lot of either unmotivated voters or a lot of single issue voters that will vote for one
Well,
thing
I
and
mean,
they'll.
the problem comes down to when we have a divided government on the state level in states where one party has enough votes in their legislature to do whatever they want, like Nevada, North Carolina, Kentucky. I think technically, does Kansas have a Democratic? Yeah, Kansas, um, Maryland, and Massachusetts were examples. Now they're not. I would say Vermont, but the governor there is basically a Democrat who has an R next to his name, but makes sense. It's Vermont. You can't really run as a conservative in Vermont, anyways. But I mean, yeah, and then there's of course governors in states where they have to work with the legislature, like in Pennsylvania. I think so. Yeah. Wisconsin, maybe Michigan. I'm not 100% sure if they have a split legislature, and then also in Minnesota too. But what happens is people will then say, "Oh, well, they did such a great job as governor," and it's like, they didn't really do anything as governor. They did some stuff as governor, but not much. Most of what happened was down to the legislature. In North Carolina, we didn't. Cooper was not really the governor. It was Tim Moore, the Speaker of the House, and I am not a fan of Tim Moore. Not really. He's a bit of a sleazeball, and he probably had sex with another. I think he. Don't quote me on this, but I think he had an affair with another representative in the state house, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I'd have to check that again. But yeah, but he was but yeah, he was basically all the kind of good economic policy in North Carolina came from the Republicans in the legislature, not from Cooper. Cooper couldn't act on any of his policies, and people liked him because they thought, "Oh, well, he's doing such a good job for the state." No, he's not. He's vetoing basically every single bill the legislature puts forward. But the legislature had a supermajority, so they could override him every time.
That comes down to the crisis of accountability that we see a lot of in the US, where regardless of who's actually responsible for change or policy, it usually ends up getting pinned on the executive branch, regardless of if it's good or bad.
Yeah.
Like, you could have a legislator pass an absolutely horrible tax policy and say the president vetoes it, but if it still goes through, the president's gonna get blamed for that tax policy even if he opposed it.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter what happens or how they act. As long as the legislature can override or do what they want, it
And the
doesn't matter.
legislator will never face accountability for it either.
No, no, they don't. Yeah.
It's kind of like how in Republicans
The
in the
only.
UK, well,
Oh yeah,
little
sorry,
r
go on.
Republicans in the UK will blame everything on the crown, even though most of what they yell about is Parliament's fault.
Oh yeah, of course, but they won't. They won't blame Parliament because again, they're like, well, we just need more democracy. Certainly, that would be better. It's like, no.
Yeah, they can't understand that they themselves are responsible for the problem.
Yeah,
Like, King Charles couldn't remove Prince Andrew's titles. Only Parliament could have done that, or only Parliament could remove him from
yeah,
succession.
only yeah with parliamentary approval. Yeah.
Well, why are they blaming him? He's doing all he can that he's allowed to do.
Well, because they just don't like monarchy. Period. So for them, it doesn't matter.
True.
They just want to get
True.
rid of it.
But I
But
remember
yeah,
you talking about Senator having an affair with another member of the legislature, and I was just thinking, it's
state
like, oh,
representative. Possibly. Again, I'm not 100% sure, but I think um, it wasn't even gonna. Sorry, Tim Moore possibly had an affair with another state house representative.
an American politician putting her, yeah, where it doesn't belong. That borders on stereotypical.
Yeah.
It's really an issue of promiscuity among our political class. Especially given the rumors we've heard as of late coming out about a certain leaked email.
I I don't know. I don't really believe most of it, but whatever.
I don't either, but it's still funny. I still think it's funny. We'll never know the truth, but the point is that a lot of our leadership is morally bankrupt, like severely morally bankrupt.
Yeah.
Hmm. So what do you think we should do to try and solve that problem? Is there really a way we can solve that problem, or?
A lot of it, I think, just comes down to the church.
Mhm.
It's really more of a crisis of faith than it is much else. There's not a whole lot we can really do on that level because It's really hard to try and articulate this because it's not exactly something that's very easy to deal with.
Right.
And the moral, I mean, and a lot of it is quite frankly overblown. It's very very much overblown. You can tell a lot of the actual political acumen of someone by simply, as you say, like just simply saying, "Is the government run by pedophiles?" If they say yes, you can very likely just throw out most of the stuff they say because they have no idea what they're talking about.
Hmm.
Eh, Then again, tragedy in that what happened builds up if the truth does not come to light. And really, Pam Bondi just should have kept her mouth shut and not said anything, and then none of this would have happened. But she's an idiot, and she should quite frankly resign from her position because she's just so dumb. That's besides the point. But I think when it comes down to the Epstein files and that whole thing, I think it's just a it's just a facade. It's a facade to keep us distracted from everything else that's happening, quite frankly. Because if there was actually anything in there to to say Trump was guilty, the Democrats would have released it when they were in power. I
I
mean,
agree.
it's a smoking gun. It's literally a smoking gun. And the fact that they did nothing. They did absolutely nothing. And my assumption is that there's something in there, or it's so vague that they don't want to release it. And when I mean something in there, I think there might be a connection or just something that they don't want to do because they know for a fact trust in the government is already at an all-time low. It's been collapsing ever since Watergate. Um, the media knows that stuff like this sells, so they keep on pushing it, lowering trust. People will then, of course, constantly say, "Oh, the government's terrible and horrible," and that, "Oh, these things are so terrible. We need to do something about it." And then they will, of course, continue to watch the media, and the media keeps saying, "Oh, these terrible things are happening," blah blah blah, and the cycle will just continue. It'll continue because, as President Nixon stated after he had left office, that President Eisenhower in his final address, he warned of the military-industrial complex. Well, President Nixon, in an interview, he stated, I want to warn everyone of the media industrial complex. And he was right, because the media is so overbearing now. And people will, of course, say, well, alternative media is getting pretty big. And it's like, yeah, I guess so. But the people who control the levers of power still watch all the old school stuff.
Right.
And then you have, like, the modern stuff. Half of it is BS, anyways. A quarter of it is mediocre, and maybe another quarter of it is good-ish. But,
So where do you think we should go from here? Like, what do you think the future course America should take politically and with our political system and our political climate should be?
politicians need to shut up. One thing I have realized is silence is your best friend in almost everything. Don't say anything. Things very often end up better if you just don't say anything. Or when you do, you say it directly to the people who need to hear it. And you do it in a more discreet manner. Now, I'm not advocating for keeping secrets and not telling anyone anything. That's not what I'm advocating for. What I'm advocating for is that people need to understand that we have to shut up. We don't need to say everything. We need to get our point across and let people decide from there. A lot of the problem with, and I see someone in our chat saying people always watch television politics, and yeah, I agree. The problem with the television politics is it's talking heads. We all know it's the talking heads. That's all it is. So if we just learn to shut up I think it would be better. But people like to talk, and the media loves to talk even more because then people buy, and it's. I think we've reached a point in our democracy where we're reaching the end of our democracy, and I don't say that, i.e., we're gonna have a dictatorship. No, no. And if you think Trump's a fascist, you're an idiot. Okay, like at least try and understand what fascism actually is. If you want to say Trump's becoming authoritarian, okay, I can see some fair arguments for that, quite frankly. But our democracy is finally coming to its. I think it is coming nearer to its conclusion, with the fact that we don't trust each other. Whenever we say a fact to someone else, they just won't. They just like, no, I don't agree with that, so I'm just gonna completely disregard what you had to say. And we just all want to keep talking over each other, and the media is, of course, basically earpods that we have in our ears every day, every hour, every second of every night, and we say we'll take them out. Well, maybe we'll do it for like a second or two, and then we'll put them back in. Because it's fun to see the world on fire. We need something to distract ourselves. Say, oh look, it's terrible over there, but hey, it couldn't happen here. Well, it is happening here. You just kind of put the blinders on while you're listening to it. I think actually, that's a good way to say it. People put the blinders on while they listen to everything happening at the exact same time. Now, I have no idea if what I said was just incoherent ramblings. It very well might have been, but I don't know.
It makes sense to me. I mean, the quote Teddy Roosevelt, "Speak softly and carry a big stick. Sometimes silence says more."
Yeah, and especially in crisis, if now never be silent when it comes to international relations to a degree. Don't ramble on, but also make sure you communicate. Communication is important. Silence is just as important. Always communicate, but don't push it. Keep it to a minimum. Keep it to what is necessary, and don't be like, "Well, I don't know if that's necessary." Like, no, just say it. Say it. Better safe than sorry in that regard, but don't ramble. And so, I think that's what's important, is that we need to, as a nation and a people, learn to shut up more.
Well, with that being said, you think we've said enough this evening?
I don't know if you have anything else to say. I think I got most of my piece out there.
No, I've thoroughly enjoyed hearing your piece. I have nothing else to comment. When you're right, you're right.
Thank
You
you.
hit the nail on the head. So I think we should wrap this up in prayer, say little words like you say, and carry on with our evening.
Yeah.
Please bow your head and join me in prayer in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Thank you for joining us this week on Monarchist Minute. We hope to see you again, same time, same place. If you like this content, hit like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening to this content on Spotify or another streaming service and not YouTube, hit whatever the notification button is to make sure you get updated about when the next episodes drop. Follow us on social media if you want to get a hold of us to help out the cause. Shoot us an email, join us on Discord, or send us a DM to any one of our social media accounts. We'll get back to you as promptly as we can. Until next time, may God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you, and good night.
Night, y'all.